Good Sunday afternoon, Sports Insanity Network fans. It's Mark Goldup's Guy Halpern, along with Vice President Danny Boy Reginald. Good afternoon, Dan. How are you?
Two zip NYK. I am so thrilled on a Sunday before the real party begins in the great city and state of New York for the New York Knickerbockers.
If you can't tell what this is, you're back here on the Six Man, presented by the Sports Insanity Network, sponsored by the Dugout of Millwood, where you get all your best cards for your best dollar. But forget about that. We're here to talk about the New York Knicks and the finals, the first two-game wrap-up. And I'm going to be honest with you. I got a big surprise. I was shocked. Not the fact that we won the first game, because you have to look at the Spurs team and understand that this Spurs team is a good basketball team. And in the first game, they looked dead. The second game, that's to show you the concerning play that the Knicks are going to be up against. The Knicks came out and represented on the road the great state of New York with Jalen Brunson and the New York Knicks taking on, as Dan and I rep Jalen very, very much. And we love that Daddy, is out there, still coaching away. Go, Dad. Um, we're here to talk about the surprising 2-0 start that the Knicks had. Dan, like any other NBA finals, when you're on the road, what is your goal?
Well, obviously, you know, for the Knicks, if they could split, that'd be preferable because you have to understand when you don't have home court, you just need one to steal it. And to be quite honest with you, home court doesn't really matter in these playoffs anymore. Like I've started to realize that very much so that it's nice, but it doesn't really matter anymore because Indiana, they've won game sevens on the road many times. Um, uh, um, New York took two from Boston in Boston the year prior. So it doesn't really matter, but preferably you want to split. The fact that the Knicks took two in San Antonio and now headed to the Garden for game three with a big commanding lead, I don't know. I was pretty stunned by that. First of all, I thought the Spurs would win game one. They didn't.
Well, especially with the lead they had, and we'll be getting into the individual games in a minute or two. But yeah, yet again, the Knicks were down almost 17. And what happened? The Knicks do what the Knicks do best. They turned it up a notch.
Yeah.
The Knicks being 2-0 in the finals, as anyone will tell you, makes their odds of winning the championship go up astronomically. Until it happens, I'm not calling victory because we all know what happens. Everybody starts celebrating early and then, whatnot. When was the last time I ever saw an NBA Finals go four and out? I don't know anymore. I can't remember. I'm sure it's happened in my time, but I don't remember when. But let's take a look at the first game here. The New York Knicks had this, as we said, started off the series.
It was the Golden State Warriors against Cleveland in 2018.
Okay, in
That was
2018,
last week.
the last sweep. Not gonna say it, but that was the last time a team went straight through. So the first game, New York Knicks took 105-95, and in the first quarter, Dan, even I sent you this text. I said it's sloppy. It looks like they're being rushed. The Knicks were down 8 points in that first quarter as San Antonio went up 27 to 19. And Dan and I were back and forth. Now Dan was working, so I couldn't overload Dan with messages.
Yeah.
But that first quarter, Dan, was it the fact that they were in home, or was it just nerves and jitters?
Yeah, I mean that, and also I want to stress that this Spurs team is good. Obviously, Knick fans, we're gonna absolutely troll San Antonio because that's what we are. When we're up big, we're gonna troll y'all. Like that's just the New York mentality. Reality speaking, this is a good Spurs team. The Knicks got off to a 14-7 start. The Spurs responded with a 20-13 run. Like, this is a good Spurs team. This is not a team that, we have to just turn to cheat. Like, we have to pay very close attention because they're not only a good team, they're a smart team, they're a physical team. And let's be honest, Mark, you know, we're talking about game one. The Knicks won dramatic fashion, thriller, very close game. Brunson, Captain Clutch coming up huge in that 11-0 run to end the game, making big time buckets and everything. Um, but let's be honest, the Spurs had given them a little bit of fits here. And they had to work for that win. It's not as easy as it was against Philly and Atlanta and Cleveland, where they can blow the doors out those teams and, no problem. Everything was anticlimactic. This game one was a thriller.
Well, it's going to go down as one of the more memorable comeback games in NBA Finals
Yeah.
history.
Yeah, down 14 and you win the game. Like it's tremendous stuff.
Exactly. Game high, obviously, by our usual suspect, Jalen Brunson, with 30 points, with three rebounds, two assists, and right behind him, as usual, Karl Anthony Towns with 18 and 12 rebounds. Josh Hart, 15 rebounds and six assists. We're going to see, and only 3 points. We're going to see different versions of Josh Hart throughout these playoffs.
Yeah.
There are going to be games where he's going to be relegated to be a more shooting guard, to try to change it up, to move the offenses around. But let's face it, when Josh Hart is playing defense, and that's all he's focusing on, there's no better Nick on the floor transition wise than Josh Hart.
Yeah.
Because he'll get back. He doesn't mind going up and running all the way backcourt to do a, as I like to call it, a LeBron James block from behind.
Yeah.
Hart's a baller.
Mhm.
And he's got the one of the biggest hearts on the team as he put up 15 rebounds and six assists, but only 3 points. Don't let that phase you. Josh Hart is very capable of putting up 12 to 15 points a game if he wants to. It just depends on what the Knicks are going to use him as in each game. OG Anunoby had a very nice game of 17 points to go along with three rebounds.
Yeah.
Mikal Bridges, we'll get into him. 9 points. The guy who was electric during the Cleveland series came out flat. Again, Dan, is it more jitters or
No, I mean he contributed in many other ways. He had two steals, not as many rebounds as what I would like to have seen. Three assists. Like he was still a plus 11. So to me, like he contributed in other ways. It may not have been like incredibly noticeable, but Bridges was out there balling out. Um, Josh Hart was a plus 22 because of his 15 rebounds. Um, and like he's absolutely tremendous, dude. He obviously with the six assists and look, in terms of those two alone, Bridges and Hart, who obviously get a ton of credit, but we still got to we don't acknowledge it as much. Like those two have been so instrumental to this run, along with obviously, Brunson's dramatic closing moments, and then of course Karl Anthony Towns coming alive mid-game. Like, you know, but those two, Josh Hart, Mikal Bridges, have been instrumental in this run. And it's great to watch, dude. I especially love Josh Hart. By the way, my television station, we actually had his old high school coach um
Oh, really?
and on the air because he's from like the Silver Spring area in Maryland. So
Okay, that's pretty cool.
yeah, so we
I'm
were
sure
able
he had
to.
some great things to say about the guy.
Oh, of course. It was awesome. Yeah.
As for the bench for the New York Knicks, looking at two main players, Mitchell Robinson is dealing, not was dealing, is dealing with a broken pinky. It really has not affected him. And anybody says it is affecting him, yeah, he made a free throw or two. That's how it's affecting him.
I think he made
His
three in game two. It was like,
yeah,
and
and
he's catching alley-oops and slam dunking it with his arm. Like it's a non-factor. Like let's
right.
be honest here. Like
And then obviously, Landry Shamet obviously has gotten the most minutes off the bench, and with good reason. Shamet was in for 33 minutes, put up 13 points,
mm,
and only had one rebound, which is fine. But his job is to be that shooting guard, out there, shoot, get the ball, quick shots, and whatnot. Jose Alvarado, the 7 points are nice, but I like it when he's active on defensive wise.
mm,
Rebounds and stuff, it's very big. And then Miles McBride, it's good to see him get a few points and in. Just to comment a little bit on what the Spurs tried to do in winning, they made an attempt, give him a little recognition. Obviously, Victor Wembanyama, I think Mitchell Robinson, if he's gonna continue, should go to and hang out with Victor because Victor Wembanyama made 12 of 13 free throws in this game. When
mm.
Mitchell Robinson's up there, you're down on your knees praying for one.
Yeah.
You know, take some time, see what a 7-footer can do. Wembanyama, 26 points, 12 rebounds, 2 assists, but 6 turnovers, which was pretty big for him. Uh, Julian Champ with 16 points, Stephen Castle with 17, and Vassell also with the 9 rebounds. The one thing the Spurs really match up well with the Knicks is the rebounding. Obviously you got the tallest guy, and for Wembanyama not to be in on almost any rebounding play would be unusual. But the Knicks and Spurs kind of evened that out, and we were took game one, and we were
Mm.
happy, and we're like, yes. And but Dan and I kind of share a little bit of the same. We would be okay if they lost game two. We want the win, of course, but we would understand the loss. Like anybody else would understand. You can't, it's hard to take 2 games on the road in the finals against a team that is really good, but it started out, Dan, the same way
Mm.
as game one. San Antonio, instead of the lackadaisical defense, was press defense from the get-go. There was no room for Brunson to breathe or anybody to breathe, but San Antonio took the first quarter 34-25. Dan, what was going through your mind here?
The what was going through my mind is that the Spurs were going to tie the series. That's what's going on in my mind. Which, I was texting a few of my friends. And I told them, like, no matter what happens, the Knicks did their job already. They already won a game in the NBA Finals, and they're going to go home with at least one win. They need the adversity. They need the adversity. So, like that was going on in my mind until the second quarter.
In which an entire 180 happens as the Knicks took the second quarter 31-18.
Yeah.
And going into the half, my wife's looking at me and I'm doing my little dancing and that, and I'm walking into the kitchen and, grabbing more and more food, which I didn't have to wait on concession lines to do because staying at home and not spending 10,000 a ticket is a smart move.
Yeah.
The third quarter, you started seeing a balance happen. There wasn't as much pressure
Mm.
from San Antonio. And my question comes down here. Did San Antonio kind of burn themselves out in that first half?
Well, what happened was midway through the game, Karl Anthony Towns started to D up on Victor Wembanyama. And while Victor scored 29 points and could have won them the game, should have won them the game, Karl Anthony Towns was schooling the heck out of the Spurs, including Wemby. Like it wasn't even close. Like it was pretty bad. Um, and it was him that got everything going um, until he got his fourth foul, which, by the way, was one of the worst calls by the officiating I've ever seen in my life. Like,
Yeah.
that was the refs trying to give the game to the Spurs, by the way. Like I truly believe that. And of course, I'm not going to spew out more conspiracies, but let's be real here. The officiating has been horrendous so far in the series. Um,
Not going to disagree with you there. And as you can see, the NBA was looking closely in on the games, and the technical foul that Mitchell Robinson received in this second game was
Another one.
rescinded.
Another horrible one where Wemby clearly shoves him. It was clear as day. Shoves him first, and then Mitch Robinson goes back at it. They call tech on Mitchell Robinson. What kind of bullshit is that? It was very clear and obvious what the refs were trying to do. They tried so hard to give this game to the Spurs. Um, but it was Karl Anthony Towns that really started it. Once he got his fourth foul, and also Josh Hart was in foul trouble here too.
Yep. He had
Um,
he had four as well at one point.
so once he got his fourth foul, they forced him to take him out. The small bench featuring Mikal Bridges, Jose Alvarado, Deuce McBride. I think Shaman was in there for a little
Yep.
while too. That small team carried the Knicks and build a 14-point lead, which, of course, I'm going nuts
Mm-hmm.
here.
And my wife is like, here we go again. Oh, and I'm jumping up and down. I'm like, and then what happens? All of a sudden,
Mhm.
it's like someone flicked the switch.
Yeah.
The Knicks could not get anything to fall. Turnovers were a
Mhm.
mess. And all of a sudden, this game started inching closer and
Yeah.
closer and closer.
The tides turned. I think the tides really turned when Karl Anthony Towns, even though the bench did a tremendous job without Brunson and Cat on the floor, which of course we were worried about because in the Atlanta series, if you remember, those two were out on the bench and the Knicks struggled. This is the Spurs. Spurs are way better than the Atlanta Hawks. So we were worried and the bench came through. But when the Knicks started missing their shots and Wemby took off, I think he had 29 total on the night. He did not have a good first half. He had a great fourth quarter.
Yeah, he had a great fourth quarter.
Once they started getting going and the Knicks couldn't knock down anything, even with Brunson on the floor, that's when things started to turn a little bit. And once again, thought was creeping into my mind. I think the Spurs are going to win this game.
And they made a run, hitting three after
Mhm.
three after three. It was
Mhm.
like watching a well-oiled machine
Yeah. No,
go. And then
14 unanswered points. I mean, like just like that, your
and
lead's
all
evaporated.
and all of a sudden, the Spurs have the lead.
Yep.
And then Jalen Brunson said, I got this,
Yep.
and took over.
Mhm.
Brunson made the most clutch shot in the fourth quarter when he had that falling back going over Wemby. It wasn't for three or anything. It was about a 6, 7 foot shot, but here's the difference. You have a 7'2" guy getting in your face with that wingspan, and
Mhm.
he got it over him, and it, landed in. And
7'5",
here's
seven
what
five.
happened.
It's really 7'5". Like if you want to be more impressed by it, like you know.
And here's the key of what happened. The Spurs were trying to push, and Wemby got the ball and pushed it up to the one guy who is in the right lane to receive it, but was not waiting for it, and that was Stephen Castle, and it hit Castle in the back. And who was there? Jalen Brunson. And what happens? Gets the ball, gets the timeout, gets the ball, but gets bumped, not on purpose, just because by Wemby. Spurs are in foul trouble.
Mhm.
Brunson to the line. Makes the first one. And I'm saying, oh, just make the second one, please. And when it bounced off, it said, okay, clock running. And OG's got a chance to gets in with the ball. And then and then the Spurs recover it, and then the timeout. Dan and I have been in these 5, 6 second moments
Yep.
so many times against inferior and against heavily advantaged teams. Dan, there was 6.5 seconds on the clock,
7.5.
7.5 seconds on the clock. Was it a secret who you thought was going to take the shot?
Well, there was a couple options. It could have been De'Aaron Fox, but I knew they were going to go to Wemby.
And Wemby had a clear look
It
at the
was a clear
shot
look.
too.
Clear look. Um, but credit to Mitchell Robinson, who, let's be honest, including that last possession where Wemby misses, Mitchell Robinson had stopped Wemby twice in a row
Yep.
to win the game. So kudos to
And
him.
it's not so much that he was under. You put a little bit of pressure on
Yeah.
anybody, it's going to alter the shot one way or another. Wemby missed, the ball bounces backwards, Knicks win. I bothered Dan at his job. I apologize to everybody at Dan's job. The Knicks were up 2-0, and I did not realize he was still there. So I'm sorry, Dan's bosses. Don't fire him for that. No, I know they're not going to because Dan excels at his job. No, the Knicks took it. Now I've taken a 2-0 lead, and now you're coming back to the greatest arena in basketball, and that's the Garden. And who is going to be there with a big smile on it? You're going to have Spike. Spike's going to be, and his drip is going to be crazy. Timothy Chalet, I want him to come dressed as Willy Wonka in orange and blue and give out candy to all the people. Yeah, do something with it. Let's recap the second game a little bit quickly. Uh, Points: Brunson 20, Towns 21 with 13 rebounds, but Bridges with 20.6 rebounds, 6 assists, 1 steal. Shamet a little quiet, but 13 points off the bench. But here's a stat that I want to pull out, Dan. That is not one we normally have the Knicks have. The Knicks had 5 blocks in this game. 2 from OG, 1 from Cat, 1 from Hart, 1 from Mitch, and 1 from Shamet. Every Nick is locked in because
Yes.
they all know what the score meant. They all knew, no, you're coming home. You're not going to hear the boos anymore. When you're at the free throw line, it's gonna be nice, relaxed. Free throws are what they are. They're free and they're throws. There's no reason to miss any. It will not be accepted in New York. By the way, nobody kill me if that happens.
Oh no.
What's going through the minds of the Knicks, Dan? Besides being elated, and you know what? Forget about the Knicks. What's going through Mike Brown's mind? What is his game plan now? What do you think is his game
Well,
plan now,
yes,
essentially?
he has to tell the team to stay the course. Um, Yesterday while doom scrolling on social, because that's what I do. I'm a professional doom scroller. Just as much as I am also a broadcast director. Um, and I came across a Kobe Bryant press conference from when he went up 2-0 in a final series. And people were asking the man himself, the Black Mamba, um, how do you feel? Are you happy? Are you excited? Why aren't you smiling? He said, what's there to smile about? He said, you guys are up 2-0. And he tells the reporter, no, like there's nothing to smile about. Nothing happened. The job's not done yet. That's the mindset that this New York Knicks team has to have. And so far, it seems like that has been the case. Um, and I know they celebrated after winning the Eastern Conference and everything, but the job's not finished. This is gonna be. They have two more wins here, Mark, and we all know that the win that's the hardest to get is the last one because that ends the series. So this series is far from over. I don't care what anyone says. I'm not that crazy. Like I've had PTSD before where my team had a commanding series lead and blew it. So I need people to lock in and understand that the Spurs are going to come out and they're going to try to save their season Monday night at the Garden.
Mhm. And when you have a team like the Knicks that has been on this miraculous run, and I'm
Yeah.
sorry, it's not a standard run. This is one for the books. This is a miraculous run of great play, backing each other up and whatnot. The question becomes if, let's say, God forbid, the Knicks lose on Monday, the mindset can't change.
Yeah.
A loss hurts, especially on your own home court. And as San Antonio has had the knife stuck in them twice and have to take it out, heal, and go back, that's what they're going to be gunning for. And if they do happen to win, it's how the Knicks respond to the loss will dedicate and show you how much this team is locked in.
Yeah.
Mind you, I'll be very happy and very pleased for my boys to come out and take the next two and just end it like that so the stress can be over with. But
Mm.
Dan, Monday night, New York City,
Mm.
forget about all the problems. New York City is going to come together. Whether you like basketball or not,
Hmm.
New York comes together for the Knicks, for the Yankees and the Mets, not the Nets, for the Giants and the Jets, not the Bills. That's the mindset. There are teams that are important and there are teams that are not in New York mind. The New York faithful are going to be out in droves.
Yes.
Please don't do anything stupid.
Yeah.
Please, let's not cause an issue like they do in Philadelphia. Yes, there's reason to go crazy and be joyous. Let's act responsible. Let's keep New York's first responders safe and out of the mess. But
Exactly.
yes, you can go nuts. Just do it respectfully.
Yeah. And I mean, the inexperience of the San Antonio Spurs might be the death of New York City
And
as we know
it,
it.
it's a hard thing. I mean, I think the Spurs would be a little bit more relaxed if it was a 1-1.
Yes.
But you have to think their nerves are the
Hmm.
ones that are going to be rattled.
The hostile environment of the Garden, you're already in a deficit. Like,
Yep.
uh,
That intro is going to be whatever it's done, it's going to be electric.
yeah. I mean, look, the Spurs trolled us with their intro. So
Yeah,
it's like,
with the intro with the little like ice cream on the truck music. I'm like,
yeah,
you really want to test what they're
they
gonna
went
do to
there.
you at the
They went
Garden
there.
now?
Yeah. Oh,
Look,
it's gonna be party, man.
yeah, Dan and I have had an amazing season, and it's not over.
Hmm.
Not over. We will be back on Tuesday, recapping Monday night's game. They will be playing at 8:30 Monday night in Madison Square Garden. The next three are actually at the Garden. And wouldn't it be a great thing just to finish it out here and the Knicks win all? Not only will you hear Dan shouting from District of Columbia, Maryland, you won't hear me because everyone's going to be louder than me. I mean, I'm 48. There are kids in here who can shout and scream. As I always end our conversation here for me is go New York, go New York, go. And you want to know what? We're gonna catch you on the flip side. Want
Yeah.
to thank want to thank you for joining us. Please follow us at www.thesportsnetwork.com for all your blogs and vlogs. Go check us out on X at SInsanityReal. Follow us. Dan, sign us off, man. Give us that sign off.
Hey, peace and love, and let's go Knicks.
Let's go next.